Well, do I look like a woodworker all ready to go? Hello everyone, I'm Colin Canet. Today something completely different. Today I'm going out into the forest. As many of you know, I live across the road from the forest. And while I was riding my bike out there a few days ago, I noticed that there's some fallen logs that look like they might be spalted. So I'm taking my reciprocating saw, my battery operated one, and I'm going to go out, and you're going to come along, and we're going to cut out a log or two, and we're going to bring it back and see if we can find some spalted wood. So let's get out there. Now, here we go. Okay, now the climb really starts. So here's the log that I spotted, and it's a big leaf maple, and it's pretty brown, and it looks like it could be a spalted log. So it's quite split at the end, and there's this big knot. So I'm going to try and cut it off here, and then cut another one somewhere along here. So I only have a 9-inch blade from my recip saw. So I don't know if this is going to do it, but we'll give it a try anyway. So that's what we're looking for right there. There's the end of that, butt end of that log. And it's a little hard to tell because the cut is a bit fuzzy with this recip saw. But what you're looking for is lines. You'll actually see lines. It looks like somebody drew lines around the log with like a thin felt pen. And that's what tells you if there's spalting. Now, on the outside, you can find spalting anywhere. And you look for, it doesn't have to be a log. It could be even an old railroad tie, preferably someplace that's kind of swampy and has some water around it so that the water soaks into the wood, and that allows the fungus to get in there, and as it does, it gets in through the cracks and so on, and it gets inside the log, and it starts to deteriorate it, and it leaves those patterns in there, and that's what spalting is. So you can find spalting anywhere. You don't have to be in the forest. You could be anywhere and find it, because wood rots everywhere. It just needs enough moisture and time, and that's what creates the spalting. Now, the thing that I need to do with this log as soon as I get home is what we call end seal it. And what we do is there's a special coating that you can put on. It's kind of a waxy coating. It looks a little bit like paint, a thick paint. And what it does is it seals the end, because I just kind of keep an eye out there. It looks like something movement over there. It seals the end, and what you want to seal the ends, and you want to do that as quickly as possible, especially if it's been a living tree. This one's been down for quite a while. It's not quite as important, but you want to seal the ends because you don't want the moisture wicking out the ends, because it dries too quickly if you do that. What you want the moisture to do is to slowly come out the sides, and if you seal the ends, both ends of a little log like this, it doesn't necessarily prevent cracking, but it will certainly reduce it by a large amount. So when we get back, we'll show you how to end seal, show you what that end seal looks like. Now I noticed this log on the way up that I missed last time I was up here. Ooh, something's been foraging in here. That's a bear. He's been digging in here. I'll just show you quickly. This is that area that I just showed you. You can see the ground's still moist in there, so something's been digging around in here, which isn't unusual. Anyway, let's go over to this log over here. And I noticed this log. It's pretty cracked. And I noticed this too. Somebody's tore the bark off there, probably looking for grubs. That's a little, a little worrying. Anyway, we'll get the camera over here and let's have a look at this log here. Pretty heavy, deep crack, so that's probably not a candidate that, there's probably spalting inside, but it's just not a candidate that you could do much with, even if you did harvest that. Okay, we're back in the shop, and I've tried to clean up this end a little bit so I could show you some spalting, and I'm not having much luck. But you can see there, remember when I said that it looks like somebody took a fine felt pen and drew lines around? That's what spalting looks like, and I'm not seeing a lot of it, but we're going to go ahead and end seal it, and maybe we'll be able to see a little bit more. So I don't have the can for this because I've had it so long the can started to get a bit rusty, so I've moved the end seal into this glass jar. But I wanted to show you, this is, you know, it's not like paint. Look at how it's almost like syrup. And this brush, you don't actually clean the brush. I haven't used this in probably over a year, and that's what the brush looks like. You just sort of use a cloth and wipe the stuff out, but it doesn't really dry. And that's why it's such a good seal. Now, a lot of people use latex paint, and if you use latex paint, you probably need to do 5 or 6 or even 8 coats with it, because latex paint doesn't really cover very well. This end seal is more like a syrup, and it actually dries pretty clear on there, a little bit milky, but it seals the end really well. I'm only going to show you one side. I'm not going to show you end sealing both ends. There's no point of that. But I hope this might reveal a bit more spalting. And there may not be spalting here. It just looked like a good candidate, but we'll see. Well, I've end sealed both sides of the log, and this is the end of my video for this session. I was hoping we might be able to get a cut on this log, but I've just checked my bandsaw blade. I was suspect that it was not tracking properly, which means it's dull, and it is, and I'm going to have to order another one. It's going to take probably a couple weeks at least for me to get that right now. That's the way things are. And when I come back next time, we'll actually do some cutting on this and see what's inside. So if you haven't already subscribed, now would be a good time to do that so you don't miss to see what's inside this log. I'm Colin Cadet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.